Radio. And if you're watching on Facebook Live, welcome to the Christel Crawford Show on Facebook Live. How did I get so lucky? Today's topic is business randomity. And speaking of, I think I managed to get onto Facebook Live like the instant right after my show started. We are playing in my business with some new lighting and new stuff. I've got a new laptop coming, we've got new lighting coming, we're playing with being more of a production studio. So, hi Saskia! Yeah, so anyway, we were just wildly getting my set together, and I'm still learning how to use Blog Talk Radio and Facebook Live at the same time. And so tip number one for business randomity is always add things to your life that make it more fun for you. Hi, Dominique. Hi, Yvette. So for those of you that are watching, welcome to my home. You are in my basement living room with me. I've got the fire going. Hi, Dominique. Hi, Yvette. And yeah, so this whole topic of business has been really up for me. And you know, of course, as it would be, as you're creating something new. I have 6 months of the School of Business with me starting on July 18th, and I'm kicking it off with a free call on July, whatever day, Wednesday, July 12th. And but what I really wanted to talk to you about today was this whole concept of business randomity. And thank you. Somebody just told me I look gorgeous. It's the lighting and my eyeballs, and that combination is like... How many of you guys have tried to do business linear, and how much has that failed for you? You know, the more that I do business, the more I realize how random I actually am and how much that actually works for me. Hi, Daniel. And, you know, I'm on a telecall right now with Gary Douglas, and he's talking about business. And that was one of the phrases he uses was business randomity. And I was like, fuck, like I'm so much better when I'm functioning from the randomness of me than when I'm trying to fit myself into some linear system. And my business is 99% online and 99% virtual. So, you know, like when Facebook finally figured out that I was doing that, of course, Facebook algorithms picked up on that. And of course, I got all kinds of ads from different coaches and different systems and different structures of, you know, ways you could build your online business. And it's not that those people don't know stuff. Because whatever it is that they've done that has created their business that they're now trying to sell to you as a way that will create your business worked for them. And there are pieces and bits that I've picked up along the way of, you know, different systems I can use and different, you know, tools I can use to support the infrastructure of my business. But it was been so funny because as I've been, you know, as I've gone along and I've tried out these different systems and tried different things to like have that 7-figure business, which by the way, I'm on my way, without those. As I've tried those, like I've gotten to discover what really works for me and what doesn't. And what's actually true for me is that the more I'm willing to be myself and be as random as I actually am and be as audacious as I actually am and be as weird as I am and cuss as much as I do, the more my business grows. So I would really encourage you to be yourself. That would be my tip number one. Be yourself and show up and be it out loud, whatever that is. You know, for me, that looks a certain way. And it looks different all the time. Like sometimes, you know, being me is really quiet and gentle and filled with piano music. And other times, man, I'm just a wildebeest in a cussing fit, you know. Sometimes I drink wine on my videos, sometimes I don't. So whatever it is that is actually you that you're trying to hide from the world because you've decided it's bad and wrong and not the way you do business, can we please fucking destroy it and create that shit? Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. The more you're willing to be yourself, the more you're willing to be as weird as you are, the more your business will grow. Tip number one. Tip number two is get to work. You're welcome. End scene. That's the entire video. Get to work. Gosh, it was so good on the video yesterday, like the call yesterday with Gary Douglas, because there's somebody that popped into the call and she was like, but I this, and he was like, get to work, you lazy cow. And one of the things he said that I'm gonna quote terribly, he didn't say it, was basically like, you can't start your business where, like, she was like, but I want to be where I will be in 5 years. I don't want to do all the work that I have to do now. And he's like, well, that's crazy. You have to start where you are now so that you can be where you'll be in 5 years. And there's been so many times in this whole creation of online business creation. And this is my third major business. I started out as I was a waitress. That was sort of entrepreneurial, actually. And then went into, what the fuck did I do next? I owned a restaurant for 3 years. And then I had a landscape design business and a little landscaping company with my second husband. And so I guess this is my fourth business from that point of view. And then when I was a kid, I sold fundraising things. You know those things I did? So, there's been a lot of entrepreneurship in my life. So anyway, so in this whole creation of online business, this was a new business for me, which is tip number 3. These are so out of order. You love new. You love it. Every time you try to create your business from not new, from like trying to maintain, you suck badly, really bad. You don't want to suck at business. You want to be awesome at business. You love new. So you got to create your way. You got to create your way and your business in a way that actually supports what's true about you. You love new shit. I love new shit. So one of the things that really works for me about online business is that I'm constantly learning new stuff. Now, that doesn't just apply to online business. Like, it doesn't matter what you do or what you love to do, and whatever it is you want to create money at, you got to educate yourself about it. And I am constantly educating myself about online stuff, constantly. I'm constantly looking at new things that might be better, training myself on APIs and connecting things, hooks and web hooks and shit like that. And I realized that one of the reasons I do all that with online business is because I love it. I love it. I love, there's almost nothing more sexual than I said it. When you've hooked up an autoresponder to a thing and a that and a this, and then people start clicking, and then you get the email, and then they get the thing, and then they get the thing, and then you get to meet all these people. When you've created that whole system and somebody clicks a button and it all works, it's like an orgasm in your email box. It's that good for me. I love it. What do you love so much that you would be willing to get to work about it, educate yourself about it, and do it in a way that works for you in the random way that works for you? So sometimes we get into these business, the thing is, as humanoids, we have no shortage of ideas, no shortage of ideas. You are going to have ideas all day long. You are an obsessive compulsive creator. And when you're not obsessively compulsively creating the future, you are obsessively compulsively creating crap. Have you noticed? You're an obsessive compulsive creator. So when you get involved in what you love, what happens is that obsessive compulsive creative capacity that you have, it goes to work on your behalf. When you're not doing something you love, your obsessive compulsive creator of crap jumps in there, because you're going to obsessively compulsively create something. You might as well obsessively compulsively create the future you desire. That's my point of view. And when you enthrall yourself and thrill yourself, that's what occurs. So for me, online business is the thrill and the enthrallment of seeing what I'm capable of, seeing how many more people I can reach, seeing how many more conversations I can get into, see how many more people around the world can get to know the different possibility that's available to them. That's business for me. And it is fucking orgasmic. It is so fun. And I think sometimes I forget to let my face know. So I'm changing that. But that's the other thing, is it's also the adventure of creating your life, right? So as you're creating anything, I remember actually I used to say I have so many things to tell you. So right before John, who's my current live-in lover, production manager, amazing man, I did a lot of dating. And I only say that because I did probably an abnormal amount of dating. And I looked at dating as a way to get to know myself and to have fun. So dating was not about finding my soulmate or finding the one or all of that other shit you're taught that dating's supposed to be about. Dating was about discovering more about me and what really worked for me and what really didn't work for me. And I discovered a lot. Now, business and the creation of your life can be the same thing. And the way Gary puts it is choice creates awareness. Have you ever heard that? Choice creates awareness. So in business, it's the same. Choice will create awareness. Now, you are never going to start something and know how. There's no roadmap. You don't start out with a business and here's your plan. Really, if there was a roadmap, we really should have been handed it should have been handed to us at birth, I think, really, like we should have, like when we came out of the womb, the doctor and the nurse should have, like, as our head was coming out, like slapped a roadmap to our ass. That would have been better. But we weren't given a roadmap. So, you're not taught how to be a parent. You're not taught how to be a kid in this reality. You're not taught how to be a humanoid, that's for sure. Business is the same. There's no roadmap that comes with it. And what most of us do when we're starting a business is we go looking for the roadmap. Surely somebody else has created this before us, and they must know more than we do. And so we've got to go find what's outside of us instead of accessing what's inside of us, because somebody else must know better than we do. Now, the only thing that's true about any of that is that we do need to educate ourselves, but the thing we do ourselves a disservice with is that we don't know where to go, or we don't know how to do it. That whole thing of I don't know how to do it is true, and it's not true. What's not true about it is that you do know how to lead yourself to what it is you require. I'll give you a short example. Yesterday I was made a manager on somebody else's YouTube channel, okay? So she did all the steps. YouTube was telling her that I should be getting this email that I never got. And so there was no way to connect the two. Like, I still wasn't able to be a manager, and she'd done everything she knew how to do, and I didn't know how to do what I needed to do, and nobody was giving me any information. So I took the point of view of, like, okay, I don't care what it takes, I'm going to figure this out. I am going to get whatever information I require to get to be a manager on this stupid YouTube channel. It's not stupid, but you know what I mean. So I started Googling. I didn't even know. I think she sent me a video link. Well, that video link took me to a video that gave me one word, that then took me to another video that gave me one word that I then Googled, that took me to this other place that I didn't know that existed, that showed me where to become a manager of this YouTube channel. I couldn't have done a tutorial video on that process for you if I wanted to. I have no idea exactly how that came about. That was so random. But that is how business creates for you. That is how business creates for you. It is so random. And it just goes, it stems from the energy of, I don't care what it takes, I'm going to create this. That's what it stems from. That's what got me there. That's what kept that creativity in my universe to get me to that other point that I couldn't have taught anybody else how to do, because it didn't make sense to me in the first place. I just followed that thing, and oh, that's a clue, and that's a clue, and that's a clue, and bam, exactly what I desired. That's how business creates. And so when you don't allow yourself the adventure of choice, you don't get to have that. When you've decided, hi Eva, hi Teresa, when you've decided that it needs to show up a certain way, and if you do this flyer and put it on this calendar, then these people have to come, and if those people don't come, then you're a failure. Hi Torgun, I don't know how to say your name, I love it. Then you're a little bit fucked, and not in a good way. And on top of that, you get to judge yourself. So you've now created a situation and a reason and justification to judge yourself instead of a creative possibility. So choice creates awareness. The choice to create a class in a certain way with a certain title at a certain time with whoever you are at the moment creates something. It always creates something. It creates awareness. Sometimes it creates people in it. Other times it creates money. It creates all different kinds of things, and sometimes all of those things at exactly the same time. But as soon as you kill it with your judgment, then you don't actually get the gift of the awareness. I'll give you another example. I'm starting a school of business on July 18th. You're invited. I'm doing a free call on Wednesday about it. But this call on Wednesday that is now free will cost $50 yesterday. Now, when I was creating this call, I was like, I want to create a free call to just have a conversation about business with everybody. Then as I was creating the call, I'm like, you know what? It's a good idea to put a dollar amount on this call so the people who are really serious about business can actually choose it. Okay, so 24 hours later, I wake up, one person has chosen it, and I'm like, I'm looking at that energy. And I'm like, is that actually what I desire to create? No. So in normal business world would tell you if you've already created something and it already has a price tag on it and you've already put it out in the world, you're fucked. You can't change it. I don't subscribe to that point of view. So what did I do? I changed it. It's now a free call. Right? It's now a free call. I sent out an email about it. I've got all kinds of people coming to play with me. I don't actually have a point of view about the money from that call. What I care about is actually putting out into the world enough information and the energy of what it is I'm inviting all of you to that is going to give you the sense of whether or not that works for you. That's what I desire. And Gary talked about on the business time call to function from the question of how can I be the bioenergetic feeding that nurtures people into a different reality. That creates a very different space to create business from. If you are creating business as the bioenergetic feeding that nurtures people into a different reality, what would change about what you're putting out into the world to invite people to? Maybe everything. And what I've discovered about the creation of business as me, as this crazy person that I am, is that I think that I do it wrong sometimes. I was going to say I do it wrong sometimes, and then I move on. What's really true is I judge that I do it wrong sometimes, and then I move on. But what I'm noticing is that even the times that I thought I was doing it wrong were just choice. Everything's just a choice in the creation of your business, all of it. The stuff that creates people and the stuff that doesn't create people. And all of it, if you allow it to be a gift, can be a gift to you. And that allowing it to be a gift to you actually then empowers you to feed it back to other people, because there's so many people in the world that think you have to do business right. There's so many judgments and computations and conclusions and decisions about business that say that you have to do it in a certain way to do it right. You have to do a plan. Business plans don't work for you. They actually don't work for you. The only time you create a business plan is when you're trying to butter somebody up to give you money. And that's if they require it. And then you hire somebody to do it so it sounds good. Sorry, business creates differently for you than it does anybody else. And every single webinar that I've ever watched that is like more this reality instead of this conversation we're having told me that there's a certain way to do it, and you don't want to do it this other way because you're going to create something bad. I've always done it the other way, and it didn't create anything bad. I've got all people from all over the world that are playing in my business. Is that bad? It's a very interesting point of view. This is where you've got to be willing to know that to choose. You just got to be willing to choose. I was going to say even trust yourself, but you just have to be willing to choose. You just have to choose. You just have to choose to create. Daniel's taking notes on my video, by the way. So if any of you want notes, go back and look at the comments. Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, we've got 11 minutes left. So if you guys have any questions about business, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm totally happy to talk about them. You got to get that the gift of you creating business is the fact that you are willing to change and you are willing to choose. That is the gift of you. You are willing to change and you are willing to choose. That's the gift, because then you can always be aware. There's so many companies. There's a story about, you guys all know Kodak, the camera company, the film company. I'm going to butcher this story. I'm not getting it exactly right. But essentially, when digital cameras were making a rise in the world, Kodak basically chose to stay in the film business. And they had a story around why they chose that. Thinking that digital cameras were a flash in the pan. They weren't going to last. Well, we all know how that story turned out. Now we are all photographers and we're all videographers with our iPhones. And so digital photography is a massive thing. And basically, Kodak's business took an incredible nosedive. I don't know if they went completely out of business. They might have changed gears at some point. But when you're willing to be aware and have strategic awareness of the future, of what lights you up, and have all of that in simultaneity, you can then be aware of the trends and the dips and the turns as they occur, and you will never be blindsided by a depression or blindsided by a recession or blindsided by anything, because you're actually willing to be aware. And that's the gift of you and your awareness. So the thing to cultivate is choice, because choice creates awareness. The more awareness you have, the more you can actually create your business for the future. So one of the things that I'm aware of with my business is that currently I depend solely on Facebook for my dissemination of information and my email list. So I basically have two technologies. I'm aware, though, however, that if I don't create my email list and Facebook, for whatever reason, tanks, let's just say overnight, some other social media thing rises to the top. If I didn't have an email list to keep in touch with all of you guys and Facebook tanked, I would no longer have a future for my business. And that's not acceptable to me. So that's a piece of being willing to be aware of the future with everything that you're choosing. When I was first creating online business, I didn't have any information about email lists and things like that and the reason for it. Somebody just told me I needed to have it, so I started it. And I didn't do anything with it. I really didn't nurture it. I didn't send stuff out. I didn't do much with it. And then I got that piece. I kept educating myself. I kept educating myself on people that were successful with online business. I kept reading about them. I kept taking classes. I still do that. And then I started to get, okay, so if you put all your eggs in one basket and the future changes, which it always does, the reality of the world is change. That is the actual reality. Things change all the time. If you're not prepared, if you're not willing to know that, then you can't actually create in a way that creates your business a future. And I love what Gary said yesterday, and that was most of us create for today without realizing that today is the source of the future. So you have to be willing to be aware of the future with your business. So when you're only looking towards the next bars class or the next dollar, if you're using your business to create dollars hand to mouth, then that's all you're going to get out of it. If you're willing to look in the future and actually go, what do I want to create now for now and the future? What do I want to create for now and the future? What do I want to be left behind when I leave this world? What is it that I want to leave as a mark on this world? When you're willing to know and have all those energies and be the source for a different possibility in the world, then your business can actually do something dramatically different. And one of the problems with the way we create business is we don't ask big enough. We ask for like 3 or 4 people in our bars class. We ask for just enough money to get us to the next access class. We ask for just enough from our point of view at the time. Instead of actually including the future and going, okay, so I have business expenses for the next 6 months. What would it take to actually create a business reserve account so that when business takes a dip, because I create my income comes in spurts. I don't know about yours. I don't get a paycheck every week. So when business takes a turn, I have money there and I have space then to create a different possibility. So I'm just getting so much awareness right now of how little I've included my awareness of the future and how much more I want to do that. And that's a part of the energy that I want to bring into these next 6 months of creation, because there's this commitment that if you're willing to be to yourself, you can create something really, really different for you. That doesn't just have to do with like getting more bodies in your bars classes because that would be fun, right? Like there's a bigger energy here, an energy that includes the future and the earth and everything you're aware of and what it is you came here to create and institute. Like, did you come here just to create hand-to-mouth existence, or did you come here to create a big splash of something, right? A difference, and that's going to look different for you, and that's going to look different for me, and that's going to show up totally different. What did you come here to create? And also, like, what is it that just lights your shit up? What lights your shit up? What do you love? What are the myriad of things that you love? Because there's not just one income stream that's possible. There's multiple revenue streams possible. And you get to create those based on what you love. And when you're engaged in the thing that you love, when you're engaged in having fun, business creates itself. And it's so funny because like for a long time I had this point of view that my online business created itself because I worked hard. I equated the two. I'm willing to work hard, and I do love to work hard, and so do you, by the way. P.S. Spoiler alert, you love to work. And if you don't love to work, then don't go into business, because business is a 24/7 baby that you get to like play with all the time. But so I love to work, and I thought my work created my online business. But what I'm realizing now is that that's actually the lie and the justification that I use to negate my being. I love doing this. It's like so fun for me, and it just comes out of what's fun for me. And I realized one day that was true when it was all I ever thought about. It's all I ever really wanted to do. I'm like constantly taking classes. I'm constantly educating myself on this. it was like this kind of big epiphany of like, yeah, I'm not out there sort of looking at how I can make bigger live classes. I'm like constantly educating myself on online classes. Oh, I must really like this. And so what are you constantly engaged in that you actually really like, that if you would acknowledge that you really liked it, would give you the capacity to ask a question and wonder how you could generate revenue from it? Everything that you love is a revenue stream waiting to happen. And it's not the question of how do I monetize this? It's like, would you be willing to receive money for what it is you absolutely love to do? Would you be willing to know that you have the capacity to create something beyond what you've decided is possible? Would you be willing to actually acknowledge your awareness of the future and include that in everything you're creating? Would you be willing to ask for more and be more? Would you be willing to get to work and enjoy it? That's probably got to be a telecall someday. The joy of getting to work. It's fucking so fun. I remember as a waitress working with some of the staff there. It was always funny for me working with other people. And one of the reasons I like working by myself is like I'm by myself. Anyway, you work with other people, right? And so there were so many servers that I would work with that either hated people or hated working in the restaurant. And I was always like, why are you here then? And I would give lip service to the fact that I hated it because I was supposed to hate it because you're not supposed to like being a waitress. But here's what actually showed up. I picked up extra shifts. I worked longer. I would send people home that didn't want to stay, and I would take all of their tables. I got to work. And guess who made lots of money and really enjoyed what she was doing there? Me. So if you're not enjoying what you're doing, get to work. Like, find something to get to work on that you actually really, really love. And start asking, what is it going to take to create money with this? Who wants to pay me for this? Yeah, just start to acknowledge what's true for you, really. Like, I don't know very many humanoids that don't just love working. And yet, when you're working at what you love, it's not work. It is the play of seeing what you're capable of. That's business to me. The play of seeing what I'm capable of. The play of seeing what's actually possible that I've never considered. And the play of doing it in a way that everybody tells me it can't be done. Huh? Because everyone tells you that online business can't be done in the way that I do it. But I'm doing it. So it can be done. And that's what you got to see for yourself, is like, how do things actually create for you? You get to discover that. And you get to play at it if you're willing to let it be play. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I think it's sort of like end scene on business. If you want to come have another conversation where you can ask your questions and have conversations with me about this, come on Wednesday. If you're listening to this in the future, that's July 12th, 2017. And so I'll put a link somewhere with this, but thank you so much, guys, for being here and all your comments and fun. And if you like this, share it. And start. Just start, Helen. Start somewhere. Start. You have ideas. Start. Anywhere. Anything. Give yourself a home play. Give yourself an assignment. And if you don't know where to start, fucking come play with us for 6 months on next Wednesday, July 18th, and actually I'll give you ideas on where to start. Because choice creates awareness. It doesn't matter where you start. You can choose anything, and you will get awareness from it, and then you'll be able to choose again, and choose again, and choose again. If that's fun, come play more. If this was fun, share it. I adore you guys. Thank you so much for being. Bye.